these are the same questions that they've been asked and the same rules.
Okay.
And so Sully tapes this, and we put this up on our site, and you're welcome to use the tape if you like.
Okay.
Okay, and we put it up on the site so that people that aren't here tonight have the ability to take a look at that. So we try to really just approach everything very professionally. And so with that being said, introduce yourself, please.
Well, thank you. My name's Tory Perfetti. And to give you an introduction first about some of the things I do and have done. One, I'm in the reserves, National Guard, Army National Guard, and I'm a second lieutenant. My contract will show I have a little over 6 years right now. I also am a member of Senator Marco Rubio's Services Academy Board. I was appointed that for helping Senator Rubio on his college platform here in Tampa. I'm an account manager at Good Living Magazine. Good Living Magazine is a combination of a health and very Christian-oriented and moral-oriented magazine. I've been involved in real estate, and I have had in all types of jobs. I've worked in McDonald's when I was in high school, valet cars, and I also helped my father do financial planning and build condos. That was before he passed away, and then the real estate market went under. I've lived in the area where I'm running for since I was 4 years of age. I went to St. Luke's Catholic Preschool there. I went to Cypress Woods Elementary. I went to Carwise Middle, Eastlake High School, then St. Pete College and USF. So I was born in Florida on the other coast in Plantation, Florida. I've been here my whole life. And one of the reasons I'm running is that growing up here and being a part of this society for so long, I remember a time when we had property taxes that were considered so cheap everybody wanted to move here. And I remember a time when insurance costs were considered just infinitesimal. It was very small, very small. Now they're 4 times what they were 12 years ago. Property taxes are 3 to 4 times what they were years ago. I'm also a very, very jobs-oriented individual. I'm a social and fiscal conservative, but a lot of candidates are talking about jobs. The difference between a lot of other people's jobs platform and mine is that Florida is the 4th largest state in the nation. We have now 19 million people under the brand new census calculations for 2011. Yet, only roughly 5% of our jobs are manufacturing and industrial producing jobs outside of construction. So what does this mean? This means that we're a service-oriented state. Everything we do, roughly over 70% of the jobs we have, are service-oriented jobs. So that means we're servicing either tourists, we're servicing new people that have to move in here and buy a new home, and we're servicing the construction industry that are building those new homes. We don't have a self-sustaining economy. It makes it very hard when you have a recession or any type of downturn to provide enough jobs in a state like that. If tourism goes down because you don't have the money to provide for that, then you're not going to have a job. You don't make necessarily a lot of money just providing a service. So I would like to make sure that we build our manufacturing and industrial capacity, and not just about bringing jobs in from other states. That costs a lot of money, and many times these are giant corporations. And that's great. I like that. I think we should be bringing them in. But we also need to have homegrown entrepreneurialism. Now, one of the things we don't do is encourage that through a proper business climate for manufacturing specifically. And being a fiscal conservative, I'm not a person who believes that the government should be going in there and providing things for businesses to start companies. However, we have a 5.5% roughly income tax for corporations. That's just state income tax. We then have property taxes that are county and city. And now we have extra regulations. In fact, an interesting part of this is even though in the state of Florida, we have lowered property taxes, the counties have come along and started increasing fees. So they increase licensing fees. I remember a couple years ago, it would cost me about $45 to $50 to get my license renewed. Now it's costing me $96. So you're not actually decreasing the cost of living when you're increasing fees and ad valorem fees. So what we need to do is provide an entire entrepreneurial oriented mechanism that people want to start a business. So we need to remove, for a finite amount of time, these types of overburdensome regulations and extra costs, and we need to lower these corporate income taxes. So not just bring jobs in from other states, but provide a way that people want to start a business. Another thing is, I hear a lot of people talking right now, especially, and I got an email about, as we're talking about Mr. Latvala, and not supporting E-Verify. Now, I'm a huge, huge supporter of not just E-Verify. I'm a huge supporter of the Arizona immigration bill and the Alabama bill. The reason is this: immigration is not just about illegals coming over here and invading this territory. Illegal immigration is also about jobs. In this state alone, they hold over 500,000 jobs. This state, illegal immigrants hold 500,000 actual jobs. Not to mention, we spent over $5 billion last year on illegal immigrants. Now, part of this money we spent was in an aspect of Florida's economy that right now is having a very hard time paying its employees, and that's the school system. Over $1.5 billion was dumped into the school system for children of illegals in ESOL classes, English as a second language. 80% of the students that take English as a second language are estimated to be children of illegal immigrants. These are anchor babies. So when you have a situation where we have unemployment at 11%, if not higher, and we have 500,000+ jobs being taken by illegal immigrants, this ties into jobs. So we have to remove these illegal immigrants from the state of Florida and provide actual jobs for American citizens. Now, one more thing that happens, and I hear a lot of rebuttals: well, they're doing the jobs Americans won't do. Well, the simple fact is that what is happening is the government is removing capitalism from a state or from society by importing these illegals. Everybody knows capitalism 101. If a company does not have enough employees because they can't pay them enough, they either come up with a better way of producing the product or they raise their wages. If you continue to import cheap workers who can live 10, 15, 20 to an apartment, 20 to a home, you depress wages. So there's no incentive to have anybody go into those jobs. And there's no incentive to create any type of education program to go into these types of jobs. So if you remove these immigrants, what you're doing is going to allow the capitalist system to create better wages. So you don't have to raise the minimum wage by a government order. What you do is you let the system settle itself out. Now, another problem that we have in this state is infrastructure. A lot of people moved in from a lot of areas in this state. They moved in from New York, part of my family. They moved in from Chicago. They moved in from all over the place. So we sprawled everywhere. And we have right now a lot of people that talk about a horrible system called high-speed rail, which is just ridiculous. I am completely against any type of high-speed rail program or anything like that. But what we do need to invest in is a better highway system and expanding our trains and expanding our ports so that when the manufacturing jobs are created here, we can ship the products. One of the biggest downsides to a lot of manufacturers that I talk to is the fact that we don't have this type of infrastructure that you would see in a Chicago or in a New York or in these big states that do have a lot of these industries, because they don't have the same type of efficiency. So I would like to provide also some investment into infrastructure to go along with creating these new manufacturing and industrial jobs while freeing up a lot of jobs that are being taken by illegals right now. Another problem that ties into the jobs issue is that we don't have a lot of skills training in schools. It's almost estimated that, hey, you know, what we're going to do is we're either going to go work for Goldman Sachs, or we're going to sell insurance, or we're going to go sell cars, or you're going to work at McDonald's, or you're going to work at some type of service job. So there's no in between anymore. And a lot of corporations aren't training their own employees. And Florida doesn't have any type of incentive that's being taken advantage of in a large scale to train people. So you're going to college basically to get a degree that's not going to get you a job. And when you go to college and then you do get a job and you're let go, no one is training you to do the job. Instead, they're looking for only experienced people. Well, how do you get experience if you can't work at the place that you're trying to get a job? So what we need to do is set up a better way of training individuals to come out of school, to come out of our primary school, our high school, and out of our middle school with some type of technical skills, something that can provide them a general basis so that they can go to a company and the company can say, hey, you have good character, you have good integrity, you have good morals, I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to hire you and I'm going to train you for 3, 4, 5 months, and now we have a job. Now, that's a very big thing for me, especially because next year I turn 30. And in my generation, you know, we grew up with a lot, actually, middle class wise. We grew up with a third car, you know, you grew up for a car for yourself, grew up with extra TVs, computers.